Raider Nation, what's going on? You guys are watching the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, ready to break down the latest news and rumors after the Raiders' 26-19 loss up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, what we're going to be talking about here on today's show is seeing a lot of people blaming DC for the loss yesterday. I'm going to give my 2 cents on that. Should the Raiders keep Rich Bisaccia? Should they decide to move on from Mike Mayock? The NFL officials did so bad that, guess what? They actually got punished about damn time. And then 3 more coaches at the very end of today's show. I'm going to let you know whether or not that they should end up getting fired. Now, as promised, the first story coming up here is going to be around Derek Carr, and should Raider fans blame him for the loss yesterday? I'm going to go ahead and give this one 2 no chalky heads, where this is, to me, I can understand fans wanting to blame him, and I can also sit here and say, no, you just simply can't just blame the quarterback. Now, there's no doubt about this. Derek Carr struggled in the red zone up against the Cincinnati Bengals. However, the Raiders' offensive line didn't do him any favors at all. When you look at all the penalties the O-line had, when you looked at their lack thereof being able to block in clutch situations, that deserves a lot of people ripping on him as well. Greg Olson, bad play calls. There were several really bad drops in this game. So, I get it. Derek Carr did not play well. And realistically, Carr has not played well for almost, 5-6 weeks now at this point. But when you're 29 of 54, that's an issue. Sure, you threw for 310 yards, but 1 touchdown, 2 turnovers. The interception at the end of the game, which I'm not 100% going to put on DC, though. I don't think he made a good decision throwing it to Zay Jones. Also on top of that, Carr's got 6 interceptions this season when targeting Zay. That is the most among any quarterback targeting any wide receiver this season. But then also the fumble. The fumble was really bad, which then set up a easy field goal for the Cincinnati Bengals. Derek Carr, since 2014, leads the NFL in most fumbles and most fumbles lost. I get it. He is a great quarterback, or an above-average quarterback, but should he get the full blame? I don't 100% agree with that. Now, I did see this pretty interesting stat from ESPN, which, anytime you see something like this is why I was upset how the game was officiated, but this is why the game was lost here, because Derek Carr went 4 of 17 in the red zone on Saturday, which we know, hey, guess what? The red zone struggles continue to be there. That's the second most red zone incompletions in a game over the last 20 seasons, regular season or playoffs. Matthew Stafford had 15 in Week 10 of 2011. Rodgers, who he's tied with, had 11 in Week 4. At the end of the day, you need to be able to find somebody who gives you some confidence in the red zone. But here's the other thing. The Raiders' offensive line, when they got into the red zone, then here come the penalties. False start, holding. You know your offense already struggles. I'm kind of curious why Mariota wasn't used in the game. But then on top of that, this final play of the game is the epitome of why Greg Olson does not deserve to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. On top of that, this also kind of goes to show that Derek Carr rushed this throw out and didn't need it. What you see right here is the final play of the game, right? And this is the exact moment that Derek Carr threw the ball. So here's the issue. Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. If I'm making up a play where it is touchdown or go home, those 2 guys need to be in the end zone. How are you going to draw up a play where those 2 guys aren't in the end zone? And then you got Zay Jones here and Brian Edwards. So you're telling me Greg Olson decided to draw up a play where he said, all right, we're going to put Renfrow to the left, we're going to send Waller to the right, and then we're going to have the 2 guys, when the game is on the line, going to be Zay Jones and Brian Edwards. That's option, and that's mistake 1. The other issue is this. Derek, when he threw this ball, Waller was still running his route, and he didn't need to get rid of it as quickly, thus forcing it into triple coverage, thus ending the game in an interception. Derek Carr deserves some blame. Greg Olson deserves a lot of blame. Now, here's the question, y'all. Who should get the blame for this Raiders loss? There's a lot of people out there, and I wanted to do this because I don't think it's fair that DC gets as much hate that he does, but then I'll also say this. He also gets way too much love for being some of the successes and some of the downfalls that he's had. But go ahead, let me know down in the comments section who should get blamed for this Raiders loss. Now, we're also going to be breaking down more news, more rumors here, and the next story is going to be coming up around Rich Bisaccia, and are they going to keep my guy as the next head coach? I'm going to go ahead and give this one 2 no chalky heads. It's a 50-50 coin toss. The Raiders were the first team to make the playoffs with an interim head coach. That alone is incredible. The Raiders were also the second team in NFL history to win 9 games with 2 different head coaches. The other team was the 2000 Lions. Now, the Raiders players, they want Bisaccia back. Here's the issue, though. I don't 100% know if that's what Mark Davis wants to do. I don't 100% know if he would still be the best candidate for the job. I do know this, though. If I was the Raiders, I would keep him no matter what. He might not be the head coach, but he deserves to either be an assistant head coach or absolutely a special teams coordinator. Here's what quarterback Derek Carr had to say on Bisaccia and whether or not he should be the head coach. I think we can all think that he's the right guy. He's proven that people listen to him. Our team listens to him. And I love him so much. I'm thankful for him. All those things will be decisions that I don't make. I don't get to make. I just play quarterback, but with everything that went on, if you really look at what happened, all the pieces missing, everything that changed, yeah, he held it together. Now, I also have another quote coming up here around Maxx Crosby. Before I get to that, I do want to tell you guys to subscribe to the Raiders Report. Major shout out to everyone that subbed during the season, and even though the year is over, we keep you guys up to date on trades, free agency, everything going on in the offseason. We had over 23,000 subscribers from Monday night kickoff until the end of yesterday's game. So major shout out to everyone that subbed to the Raiders Report over the past few months. But this is when it really gets exciting. This is when you can try to build those fundamental building blocks. Hopefully you can win going forward. So hit that sub button and turn on those noties. Now let's talk about Maxx Crosby and what he had to say on Bisaccia, keeping him as head coach. If it was up to me, I think everyone in the world knows that my decision would be, I love Rich, I'm biased obviously, but he's a great coach. He came in and got 10 wins. We came on the road on a short week and gave Cincinnati everything that they could handle. One of the best people I know, one of the most honest dudes I know, and I'll go to bat for him any day of the week. I love that dude to death. He knows that I appreciate everything he's brought to the table. I hope we keep doing it. Now, you can hear Maxx Crosby, hear a lot of these players, they want Bisaccia back. And I'll be honest, he's definitely a glue guy. I do want him back. But do you want him back as the next head coach? Type Y for yes, or I want you to go down in the comments section and type N for no. My opinion is this. If you keep Bisaccia, you're going to keep Derek Carr. It's just, I feel like that's the right thing to do because there's no argument where you can give me like, oh yeah, Bisaccia deserves to come back. But then you're like, no, Derek Carr doesn't deserve to come back. Here's the thing, though. I really, truly believe that Bisaccia and Carr deserve one more year. Here's the other side of that. Just because they deserve 1 year, because they made it to the playoffs in a year with all this drama, doesn't mean that they're going to get that shot. It also doesn't mean that that's what's best for the Raiders. Do they deserve 1 more year? Yes, but I also understand moving on from both because if I'm really trying to take in where, okay, I can get the most out of DC right now in terms of trade, if another head coach who I think is probably more qualified than Bisaccia wants to come in, then you got to go hire that guy. Just because Carr and just because Bisaccia deserves to come back doesn't mean that that is the best thing for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, if you guys want to go ahead and bet on more NFL playoff games, so far, my bets are pretty good. I bet on the under in the Raiders game, hit on that. I also bet on the Buffalo Bills -4. That one was easily covered. Now, there's going to be a lot of games that end up happening today. There's a big-time game tomorrow. If you want to bet on any NFL playoff game, go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125 for 125% deposit bonus. Let's go to the next story here around Mike Mayock, and are the Raiders going to fire him? This is just a story of two no Chucky heads because at this point, everything is up in the air. According to my guy, Raider Scout on Instagram, he said that when the season is over, the Raiders will fire Mike Mayock. However, Vic Tafur in a most recent article said that he expected Mayock to come back if the Raiders and Bengals game was close. And I think we'd all agree it was close. Now, here's the thing. I will also say that Mike Mayock has done some good, but really when you look at everything that he's done, draft, trades, free agency moves, he has not been a very good GM. The only thing that I'm sitting back wondering is, was that Mayock or was that Gruden, where I'm kind of sitting here and being like, you know what, maybe give him 1 more year. But you guys let me know. That's what the Raider Sport's all about. The nation chiming in. Type F for fire, or I want you to go ahead and type K for keep. Should the Raiders fire Mike Mayock? My answer to this is yes, if you can get Louis Riddick. I think Louis Riddick wants to be the Raiders GM. I think he would be a phenomenal candidate. And if you can't get Louis Riddick, then you keep Mayock. You give him 1 more year because if you give him 1 more year, then maybe you're keeping Carr, maybe you're keeping Bisaccia. But I would like to see what Mayock could do without John Gruden having a lot of control, because I think we could also agree John Gruden was holding back this football team. Everything you saw after Gruden left, John Gruden was holding back this football team. Now, I'm always pretty vocal on Instagram. I'm also very vocal on Twitter. And, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I put something out on IG, I put something out on Twitter, and about damn time the NFL starts listening. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram or Twitter, please go ahead, hit me up at MitchellRentz365. But last night before I went to bed, I was just spewing out tweets that the Tyler Boyd touchdown shouldn't have counted. The NFL officials should be, basically reprimanded or fired in a sense. And today I wake up and I find out, according to Adam Schefter, referee Jerome Bogger, he plays like a booger, and the crew that worked the AFC wildcard game between the Las Vegas Raiders and Cincinnati Bengals are not expected to officiate again this postseason after their problematic performance Saturday highlighted by a controversial whistle. The NFL grades officials after each game, and Bogger and his crew are not expected to receive high marks for Saturday when they ruled that the whistle occurred after Cincinnati's Tyler Boyd caught a touchdown from Joe Burrow, although replays appear to show otherwise. For those of you that don't know, Bogger, this is nothing really new. I mean, there's been multiple sources that say he's one of the worst NFL refs out there, and I don't understand how in a game like this, in a playoff game, why wouldn't you try to go out and put your best crew forward? He's never been good. He should not be allowed to officiate games going forward, and I really am glad that the NFL, officiating people, they finally decided to step up and say, you know what? You're not going to officiate the rest of the games. But for those of you that do not know the rules, that Tyler Boyd touchdown yesterday should have never have counted against the Raiders. Now coming up here, we're going to be getting into some more coaches that I think have a pretty high chance right now of getting fired, at least definitely the first two. The first coach that we're going to go ahead and break down is Greg Olson, and I get it, 4th season as the Raiders OC, but when you look at the offense, 18th in the NFL, their struggles in the red zone, this isn't something new. This is something that continues to go on and on and on. And what I do not understand is if you've had your struggles in the red zone, where yesterday they had 5-6 opportunities in the red zone, you scored 1 touchdown, you had 4 field goals. 6 opportunities, 1 touchdown, 4 field goals, and an interception. Why is Mariota not getting used? Why are you not doing some different stuff? How was the final play call, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller not in the end zone? Why? Because when it comes down to it, Greg Olson shits bricks and he can't get it done. Let's go to another guy who I think is going to be on the hot seat, Tom Cable. For those of you that watched the show early on, like when I say early on, like when I was like on Facebook back in 2019, I was like, fire Cable, fire Cable, fire Cable. I didn't like him because he's never had success. Now, he did an okay job last season, I'll say, putting together a Raiders offensive line, but the Raiders offensive line this year was just absolutely disgraceful. And then when you look at the game yesterday up against Cincinnati, the amount of penalties, the amount of holdings, I mean, that just comes down to fundamentals. And if we're going to judge the offense, we're going to judge the defense on Bradley and Olson, I'm going to look at that offensive line and say, all right, who's the offensive line coach? It's Tom Cable. This man needs to be let go because everything that happened around that O-line this year, did they get better as the season went on? Yes. But that game yesterday, man, absolute eyesore. Now the next guy we're going to talk about is Gus Bradley. I'll go to bat for Gus Bradley, though this could be absolutely another guy on the hot seat, considering the fact of this. The Raiders were ranked dead last in red zone defense this entire season. The Raiders also, this might be surprising, 26th in the NFL in points per game. Now, I will say that I thought the Raiders defense played much better the final 5 games of the season. I was also very impressed by Bradley's ability to be able to bring in veterans like Casey Hayward, Yannick Ngakoue, Denzel Perriman. Even though Brandon Faison got absolutely roasted yesterday, I still think that this is a really good Raiders defense despite some of the numbers. However, one of the biggest issues that I have with Bradley is his inability to be able to make corrections even if he sees during the game something isn't working. I don't know why Jamar Chase was putting one-on-one with Desmond Trufant or getting put one-on-one with Brandon Faison, but after that first drive where Chase catches 3 balls on Faison, yes, Faison ended up getting benched, but how were we not trying to cover some of these guys in some different ways? All I'm saying is this, Bradley's done a very good job, but he is also on the hot seat. So here's how I'm going to end the show, right? I was very proud of this Raiders team. They dealt with a lot of different stuff, but my job as a host, and I think our job as a fan base, is to move on, look into the offseason, and how do we get better as a football team. So what I want you guys to do is let me know. Type fire and then that coach's name if you believe that they should be let go. So it would be like fire Bisaccia, fire Mayock, fire Bradley, fire Olson, fire Cable. You can just go down the list. If there is a coach that you think should be fired, I'm going to be looking down in the comments of who you guys think the Raiders need to get rid of. Now, this is going to be the end of the show, and I appreciate everyone that's made it this far in this video. I do want to come off and say that I know there's a lot of firing talk today. There's a lot of emotions, but I am an emotional person. I care about this team a lot, but I don't want to get it twisted. I tweeted that out. I put it on IG. I am very proud of this Raiders team. Nobody gave them a shot. They were 6-7 at one point, and then as the season went on, this team just got really, really close. I do know this. It's going to be a fun offseason. I'm going to be giving you guys a video every single day. Also, we're going to be doing a Tim Brown helmet giveaway on Tuesday. If you don't know the details of that, just go ahead, hit me up on IG. I can give you those details. But shout out to the nation. You guys are an amazing fan base. Subscribe, turn on those notices. I don't want you to miss anything the entire offseason.